Hi everyone, I'm Stacey New, International Climate Services Scientist at the Met Office and one of the organisers of Climate Services Week 2022. I'm pleased to welcome you to the street event that we're holding over 3 days to learn about all the exciting climate services work that we do here at the Met Office.
I'm here with Bex Parfit, who's part of the Climate Stories project. Bex, what can you tell me about Climate Stories?
Climate Stories started back in 2018 and it was a project looking to explore whether we could use the arts in climate communication and climate service delivery. And since then it's evolved from the end of that project into what is now a community of practice.
Pete, can you tell us about the climate service for food farming and natural environment?
Yeah, of course. It's a climate service that's been running for about 6 or 7 years, since 2015, for DEFRA, the Government Department for Food, Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. And really, in terms of sort of background, it's looking at two main sides of the UK food system. The domestic side, so in the UK, food and farming, the wider food and farming sector brings in about 10%, just under, of gross value added. Employs about 4 or so million people. So it's really important at home, but also we import about 45–50% of the food that we eat. And so there's a really strong international dimension too. So in terms of food security, we need to think about both of those. And that's why in this climate service, we have a work package looking at plant pest and disease threats. And that's looking at the relationship between weather and climate and how those plant pests grow and so on. Lots of them new threats come into the country from overseas with all that food trade. But when they're here, the weather and climate strongly affect whether they're able to survive and carry on and grow. On the other hand, all of those international dimensions of production and weather and climate shocks and how they affect food security and yields, both overseas in major growing regions and in the crops we grow at home, are part of what we're looking in the food security work package.
So I'm now joined by Rosie Oakes. Rosie, there's a number of forecasts involved in CSSP China. What can you tell me about them?
Yeah, so as part of the CSSP China project, we try and help people to stay safe and thrive by providing them with the information they need to help them make decisions. And so within CSSP China, we have 3 forecasts and they're at different stages. So our most advanced one is the Yangtze River forecast, and that's been active since 2016. And so we issue a forecast of what the rainfall is going to be like in the Yangtze River basin. And this is really important because in that area they have the Three Gorges Dam. I don't know if you've heard about that before.
I have, yes.
Yeah, but it's a big one. So they need to know how much water to let through in terms of energy generation, but also in terms of keeping people safe. The second one is the typhoon forecast, which they've been issuing since 2019. And this is mainly for the east coast of China and South China. And they're trying to predict how many typhoons will landfall each year. This year, it looks like it's going to be an average to quiet season, so potentially 1 landfalling typhoon. And then the final one that we're really excited to share with people today is the maize yield forecast. Now, this is a newly adapted forecast. They haven't actually issued one yet, so they're going to try and issue their first one this year. So right now we have skill to understand what the maize yield will be like if we understand what the summer temperature and precipitation is like. So we won't be able to issue it till August, but we're hoping it might be able to help people such as crop sellers and storage and transportation if they know how the yield is going to be ahead of time. So we're really excited to show that to people today. Brilliant,
Thank you very much.
Emily, could you give us more information about the climate services step change?
Absolutely. So this is an initiative being led from propositions but involving the whole office. So every directorate's involved. It's about coordinating our activities across climate services to make more impact in the market.
Interesting. And I noticed some bells on the table here. Could you explain why they're here?
Yeah, so this initiative is really about us all playing our own roles within the Climate Services Initiative. And what better way to demonstrate the need to play a particular role, to join in and be better together than handbells. So in order to play a tune, everyone's got to be working together in concert, and that's what we're doing here.
So it's all about showing it's a team effort, and that's what...
Absolutely.
So I'm now with Sarah Holmes. Sarah is a member of the International Applied Science and Services team, a newly formed team within the programme's directorate. Do you want to tell me some more about it, Sarah?
Yeah, so we are pretty much a brand new team that have joined together International Applied Science and International Climate Services to form International Applied Science and Services. And we are a really big team made up of 6 subgroups that work from timescales from weather all the way up to climate timescales, and with seasonal kind of being and sub-seasonal being in the middle. So we work across a huge number of timescales, as well as really from the very science-based work all the way up to the services as well. So we work across timescales, across different methods as well. I'm a bit more on the services side, so translating climate information and seasonal information. And so, for example, some of the work that we do at the moment, I'm working on a project called SCIPSA, which is part of ARC, and a lot of that is about capacity building, about seasonal forecasting, for example, which is why we've got some of these activities here to help translate information about seasonal forecasts. And then some other projects we do for the government, for example, so writing reports on risks relating to climate risks in the Sahel, for example, and working with social scientists to help understand those as well. So a lot of it is about translating our amazing science we do within the Met Office, but then we also have a lot of software engineers within our team that are doing the kind of hardcore science to, for example, downscale global climate models over Europe or certain areas of Africa as well. So there's a huge range of stuff that we do.
So the IASAS are all over the world. Thank you.
Yeah, all over the world. Yeah, you can see us there on the map.
Thank you very much, Sarah.
Rachel here has been working on the Clean Air Framework. Can I ask you more about this programme?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're working on the Clean Air Framework. It's an online hub, so a website full of tools and data specifically for air quality and health users. So at the moment, someone that wants to get some data to do their research on health, the health impacts of air quality, have to go to a number of different websites, number of different sources, and then maybe design their own tools. So we hope to bring that all together, be a one-stop shop for air quality data and tools to help people get useful information for their users, for their stakeholders on air quality and health.
I understand, but I notice a number of props on the table. What are they here to demonstrate?
Good question. So air quality comes from a number of different sources, and we wanted to have these props to help people start to think about where the air quality might come from. So maybe people think about car exhausts, but there's a whole range of different sources of air pollution, and we wanted to get a conversation going about what the different sources are and what species, so what different types of gases and particulates come out of those sources, and then we'll talk about how they link to people's health, and that's what our framework's hoping to do.
That's really interesting. Thank you.
Hi, so I'm now joined by Joe Darren, who's here representing the MOAP. Joe, why is it important that the Met Office collaborates with academic institutions?
So the MOAP is the Met Office Academic Partnership, and it's really vital that we collaborate with universities in the UK and elsewhere to advance climate services because, well, for 3 main reasons. One is that the skills that we have here at the Met Office are broad, but we also need other skills from other areas across physical and social sciences to collaborate with. Another area is that universities and research institutions are developing and delivering climate services themselves, so learning from them and collaborating to improve climate services. And then finally, also engaging with the teaching and the student populations at universities to develop projects and train the next generation of hopefully climate service scientists.
Thank you very much, Joe.
So Katie's been working in the Climate Services Demonstrators team. Are you able to tell us more about this?
Yeah, so we're a group of applied scientists who work under the Hadley Centre Climate Programme, and we scope out and initiate new product development which demonstrates the underpinning science capability and how it could be used for different government customers.
Do you have any examples of recent work you've been doing?
Yeah, so one of them was taking the UK climate projections and seeing what different extreme impacts there are at different warming levels in the UK. So looking at 1.5, 2, 3 and 4 degrees. So we had 11 different extreme impacts, and the kind of 3 or 4 we focused on were cold weather days, extreme precipitation and drought. And so we developed the science and did a bit of analysis, and then the knowledge integration team put it into an infographic for us, and this was really heavily used for the latest climate change risk assessment, which is used by UK government to kind of create policy and different decision making about what our national adaptation strategy should be.
Thank you, really interesting.